Hello pattern makers, welcome to OJ Patterns, and today we'll be working on that manipulation. We've done different methods of manipulating your that. We've done that into styleline, we've done that using the pivot method, and today we'll be doing that into fullness. That is with transferring our that into pleats and gathers in order to create fullness. So let's look at the different design drafts we're working. The first one we want to do now is this design. So there are different things you need to note when working on any design. So you need to note the details of the design. So first and first, if you check these designs, they are both similar. The only difference is the bottom part. One is curved underneath and one is going straight. So I will be using one pattern to just explain both. So if you check now, the fullness is here. That's around under the bust, and this is also the fullness. So the details we want to look at is we need to know the details of the design, which I just explained. We need to understand the neckline. So this is a basic neckline. There are some necklines, there are some designs you might see like a square neckline, a U neckline, V neckline, different necklines. So you just need to know all these details first before you proceed. And another thing you want to check is the style line. So you want to know if it's symmetric or asymmetric. So with this design, we know this design is symmetric. That means whatever we have on the left is what we have on the right. So if it was asymmetric, that means it will be going to one direction. So this is a symmetric design. Okay, moving on. First of all, get your pattern. Now, always remember to indicate, like label the pattern. Now, this is the side seam. This is the side seam, and this is the center front. So we want to do this before we proceed. Okay, based on our design that we have, this is our base of neck because this is half, so we're doing like half part of what we have here. We're doing half like this because this is half of our pattern. So the first thing I want to indicate is the length to under bust. So I want to mark the length to under bust on my pattern and square out. So this is length to under bust for BBG. This is length to under bust. Next, now from the base of the neck, so if you check both designs, from the base of the neck, it meets up at the base of the neck and then narrows down. It's not straight, it slants out towards the under bust and then curves downwards to the side, while the other one just goes straight. So one note where we will be marking that. So this is the base of the neck. Next, what I'm going to do is from the center, along my length to under bust line, from the center front to the first that leg, I'll get like the midpoint. So I'm using the midpoint, you can check, and then I'll connect using my ruler to the length to under bust first this way. Okay, next, if you check at the side, once it gets to under bust, at the side it slants down, so it either straightens down or curve down. So from my side seam, from the length to under bust, because this is a half scale block, I'll take down 2 cm to the side. So if I'm using, if I'm doing for a standard side, I can go down 4 cm or your desired measurement, depending on how the you want the curve to be. So next, to get the bottom part, now this is curved while this other one is straight. So it just depends on what you want to use. Either you use ruler or you use a French curve. So what I want to do first is temporarily close my dart leg so that I can mark and connect it. Temporarily close this dart leg. Now I get my curve. So I'll do it with the curved one. So get the curve, place it this way. So we'll place it to connect to the style line, to the 2 cm at the side, or use the ruler. It depends on what you want to use. Either we use the ruler, so you hold it down, use the ruler to connect both together. So this is where I'm connecting here to the side that we squared out. So I'll temporarily close this down and then use the curve to connect. So this is it. So this is our style line. Okay, so next, moving on, we'll cut out. But before you cut out, you want to indicate. So this is where I'll cut out. I'll cut out on this line. Don't forget, cut out and place it on another paper. So I'm going to tape this down and then cut out. Okay, so put this aside. Next, I'm going to connect the remaining part of the waist dart to the through bust point this way. Connect it this way. And then close up the regular shoulder dart. But before I close up the regular shoulder dart, you want to open up this dart. Open up the waist dart because this is where our fullness will be. So I've taken it out. Now close up the shoulder dart. Note, you can actually do this and use this opening you have here to create the gather. So it depends on the amount of fullness you want. So if we want more fullness, so if we check the pattern what we have, the fullness is just concentrated around the bust area. So it's not moving too much to the front, neither is it to the side. So this is the bust point where we have the dart that is opened out, and then we can create another just slightly beside it so that we can slash and then spread. So these two would work perfectly. So I'm going to place this on another paper and spread. So another thing we want to do is check what we have here and use the measurement on the side. So we have an even fullness. Okay, so we're going to hold it down, tape it down on another paper so we can add the necessary seam allowance that is needed. So just cross check what we have here. So I have like 1.5 cm, that's what I will use. I'll just spread same measurements. So I want to secure it very well. So next is to add the necessary seam allowance. So add 1 cm, connect this and add the 1 cm. Here we'll add half an inch or 1.5 cm. Here 1 cm, 1 cm round for the seam allowance, and then we'll move on. Okay, now we're done with the allowance. So if you see, now this is the side seam. This is the first one we cut off, the center front. Now adding the allowance with this 1 cm at the joining, that's the inseam, 1 cm. Now at the top, you see the sharp edge. So by the time you're adding your allowance, at this sharp edge, you don't want to make it sharp too. So you have to make it square so that you can sew properly. So this is the line. This was where our pattern stopped. That's the sharp edge. And then we have 1 cm up and then 1 cm in. So for the side, we added 1.5 cm for side seam, 1 cm at the armhole, shoulder, neckline. We have 1 cm. So So the reason I'm making this mark is for you to know where the main pattern is and the seam allowance that was added. So this is side seam, this is side seam. So all we need to do is cut on fabric and then sew. We're gonna gather this back and then bring it before attaching it. So we'll be seeing the cutting on fabric. So I'm gonna place this on fabric and cut. So don't forget to indicate your pattern. This is on fold. This is your center front. So center front is cut on fold, and we're going to cut one piece. So you have to label one piece on fold, or just give the diagram to show this is one piece on fold and this is the straight green line. Now for the other part, we're going to be cutting out two pieces. So cut out two pieces. So here we'll cut one piece and here two pieces. Don't forget to label your side seam, and this is your center front. So this is one piece of food already cut out and then two pieces. So another thing we want to do is notch where the gathers, where we'll be forming our gathers. So you want to notch from where you start and where you end, because you don't want it at the end of the day will take out the pattern. Most importantly, you want to notch where it started from, because we don't want to start sewing our gathers from here. So we're just gonna notch this, and then I'll notch where I want it to stop. Okay, so we have both notches, and then we're gonna pull our gathers here. Okay, now we're done pulling the gathers. Remember, this was where we notch because this is where it's starting from. So I'm going to pull the gathers. So pick the first two threads at the top. So if you check, I use a black thread in order for us to see what we're doing properly. So please, if you're working, use the matching color thread of your fabric. So I'm gonna pull the thread at the top, which will gather, which will form the gathers for us. So this is it. So you can always adjust it. And then do the other one. Stop the thread and then pull. So we can always cross check and adjust it the way we want. So you can pull from one end, you can pull from the other end, same thing. So we're done pulling the gathers. Next, to attach it to the center front. What I want to do is, don't forget this is on fold, so if you open it up, we'll sew here and to this part. So we readjust the gathers till it fits right, and then join this other part. Please note, for this your center front, in order to attach this, in order to attach the two side piece like this, you have to get the midpoint of the top part. Don't forget this part is supposed to be very narrow, so it's supposed to come out like a V. So I'm gonna notch a bit. So this way I know if I'm sewing now, this is what I'll do, how I'll place it. I'll bring it like this. Don't forget our sewing is by 1 cm, so I'll sew from this notch part. So I'll be sewing from this notch part in order to follow the shape. Alright, this is it. Done sewing. So if you check, you see seeing the V effect because the joining was done very well. So this is it. This is the gathers, and now we're putting it on BBG. So don't forget, this is it, and this is our patterns. This is the sewn work. So if you check, it's curving downwards, or it can be straight.